Hello, everybody. My name is Sophia Brockman. I currently serve as our Assistant Director of Be Well. As you know, it is Be Well Week. We love Be Well Week because it gives us the opportunity to do some fun projects like what we're doing today. I am sitting with Dr. Lauren Carter, who serves as our Director of the Center for Academic Performance, or CAP for short if you want to be cute.
Yes, CAP.
And Dr. Carter, I'll brag about her a little bit. She told me not to, but I'll brag. She is one of my favorite people on campus.
Aww.
She has such extensive knowledge about the student experience, about just professional experiences, and she is a very strong advocate for personal well-being and self-care because of her long history with navigating these different tropes and these different experiences.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to throw it over to her, let her do a little bit of a more professional introduction.
No, I love it. And honestly, feelings are mutual, Sophia. You know, you are definitely one of my favorite people here. So excited to be here with you today to unpack all things burnout.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, as you mentioned, I am currently the director of the CAP office, and I work with an amazing group of individuals over there. For those of you who are not familiar with our office, I always say we take a three-pronged approach to student support. So there's academic support, writing support, and tutoring support. But also, you know, not to brag on the team, but to brag. It's a humble brag. As we are having a conversation around like burnout and just figuring out like how do you take care of yourself and be successful during this time that you're here, I think that they are also a great group to work with. You can always meet with our learning specialist and just have a one-on-one conversation with them about what does it take to be successful inside and outside of the classroom, because as we're getting ready to talk through, it does not stop. Like life does not stop just because you're a student, right? And so how do you navigate all of that while also taking care of yourself? So I think they're a great group for that as well. But yeah, excited to be here and to answer, some of your questions around this and just see where the conversation goes.
Yeah. And so as all of you know, as you should know, Be Well is your burnout prevention initiative on campus. And Dr. Carter actually previously served as the assistant director. She kind of helped mold Be Well into what it is today. And so a variety of different reasons is why she is here sitting with me today to talk about burnout. And so as we talk about burnout, of course, if you feel overwhelmed at all during this conversation, feel free to hit pause. You can revisit it. We'll have some resources down in the description of the video, things like timely care. We'll have CAP's website. We'll have care team's number. And so just a little quick reminder to take care of yourself, prioritize your mental health and where your brain is at today. And so I will kick us off with the first question, Dr. Carter. Can you describe what your work, your life environment was like when you first started kind of going into that burnout feeling?
Yeah, I feel like the first time I could really name it was when I was working on my master's. I have a master's of human relations, and it was a lot, which I think all of our students can relate to, right? But I was working on my master's while also holding a graduate assistantship in housing and residence life. And for all of my former housing folks that are out there, I'm sure we have some students who were RAs and remember that life very well. It's a lot. But essentially working in housing means that I lived where I work and was essentially on call all the time. So one of the things we used to say was if there's lights or, anything else, broken things, because, students like students, especially in undergrad, right? Like you're figuring out who you are, you're learning things. And I think what's great about that is that it's a time in your life where you get to truly learn who you are. But that also means that there is some real life things that are happening. And you need people on call that live there to help you navigate that. And so I was that person. So I was, a full-time graduate student. There was little separation between work, school, and rest, and just everything felt urgent. I don't think that there was really, truly, at least at that time, I didn't feel that there was a space to turn really anything off. It felt like I had to always be on alert, either to make sure that I wasn't dropping the ball for the students that, were in my building. Like at that time, I was over a building that had, I think, 1,200 students. But that was just in my building. Like, in housing, when you're on call, especially as a GA, you're on call for like the whole campus. But I had that, and then I had school. And at the end of the day, you don't get to keep your GA position if you're not
Mm-hmm.
doing well in your classes. So yeah, it just didn't feel like I could turn anything off. And the
Yeah.
burnout hit me hard.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, I think a lot of our students can relate to not being able to turn it off. A lot of our students are here because they're natural, innate caregivers.
Yeah.
They want to help people. They find a lot of passion in it.
Yeah.
And a lot of our students, they go home and they're parents.
Yes.
Or, they are a caregiver for a family member
Yeah.
or even a friend or a partner.
Yeah.
And so it can be really hard, like you said, to find that distinction. Like
Absolutely.
where's the room that you can go into and just be, your person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what were some of those signs that the way you were navigating things were unsustainable?
Ooh, a lot of them were physiological,
Mm-hmm.
right? So some of the earliest signs were persistent fatigue, frequent headaches. And so my body was clearly telling me, or at least signaling that something was off, right? But what kind of made those easy to overlook, at least outwardly, was that I still appeared fine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always been very high functioning. So I really just kind of told myself, it's just another challenge to push through.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the thing, too, is my background, and I'm talking childhood and all of that. It was hard. Humble beginnings, but it was hard. Wouldn't change it because it's made me who I am, but it has required me to kind of always have this push-through mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And so because I was still meeting expectations, I was performing well, I really minimized what my body was telling me because it always, and that's a checkpoint for me and a trigger for me to know about my burnout in particular, is what does my fatigue look like?
Mm-hmm.
And how frequently are these headaches coming?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, those were some of the early signs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's so common. Like a lot of people, we think, the physical manifestations of stress
Mm-hmm.
are so dangerous
Yeah.
because we tell ourselves, I just have to get through this week.
Right.
I just have to get through this week.
Right.
And, when that, weekend nap or when, the extra TLC that you're doing
Mm-hmm.
isn't enough
Yeah.
and you're still waking up Monday morning just dreading
Mm-hmm.
getting dressed,
Yeah.
getting in the car,
Yeah.
that's a sign.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I've gotten the 8 hours of rest, right? Maybe even 10 hours of rest, but I'm still tired.
Yeah.
And so it's also learning the different types of rest your body needs, right? It's also, is this physical exhaustion or is this mental exhaustion, right? There's so many layers to unpack, but I do think you're right. Like you hit a point in time where your body is giving you all of these signs and you're giving it what has historically worked for you.
Yeah.
But now you're like, it's not working. What's wrong? What's broken?
Yeah.
And how do I fix it quickly? Because I have a test on Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't realize that is with every new life transition or new life experience, the way you take care of yourself has to change.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be drastic in any way,
Yeah.
but it does have to change. And I remember in undergrad, I had a professor tell us, if the way, you're studying now is the way you studied in high school,
Yeah.
you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
With every single, stepping stone, you do kind of have to give a little and change a little. And that can be really tough when you don't have the bandwidth to sit there and figure out how to change it.
Absolutely.
And so, for me, like that's something, that I've really been kind of like dealing with and just like searching for is what makes sense to me. What do I have capacity
Yeah.
to do in regards of like hobbies or taking care of myself? When I get home, what am I naturally leaning towards?
Yeah.
Is it bed rotting? Is it making a meal? Like, what is my body like naturally
Yeah.
kind of leaning with?
Yeah.
And so, and you talked about it a little bit, normalizing it kind of in yourself because you said like you're high functioning.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of our students would relate to that phrasing as well.
Yeah.
And whether it's high functioning innately or because circumstances say,
Right.
hey, girl,
This is what you need to do to get what you want, right?
you got to do it. How did the like surrounding environments, how did your coworkers, your faculty, your classmates, how did they kind of help normalize that approach as well?
I think, so it's twofold. I don't know if I would solely say that it started in the workplace for me. I think a lot of it was societal norms, right? So for me, I've always been the responsible one. I've been the one that always takes care of stuff. And so that identity really shaped how I responded to stress. I was also raised by a single mother with a chronic illness, and she went back to school, finished her bachelor's, was working on her master's, all while raising me, right? And I know how I present today, but I promise 13-year-old me was a lot. And so grateful for her. But yes, she was a lot. And although my mother never explicitly said it, I think I really internalized her hard and my hard being completely different.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was going through things that I got to see her go through, like going to college, getting, a bachelor's and a master's. But I had the luxury of just focusing on me. My responsibilities, I still had responsibilities. I still had work. I still had family, that we were caring for and things like that. So not to negate my experience, but there was still this internalized, I can honestly say, it was internalized that I saw her do it, so I should be able to just push through.
Yeah.
Because, again, my heart and her heart were different. And that not only should I push through, but I should push through without any complaint.
Yes.
Like, don't complain about it. Just do it. And so there's that piece of it. I think workplace, I've always been a part of a team that has helped others. That is just the work that we do. And so something that I would say we've gotten better about talking about now, but there is this unspoken pressure that comes with caring for others, or at least preparing to go into a field, right, where you're in a helping profession. There's this expectation to succeed, to make it look effortless, and to keep going. Because if you don't, that ripple effect is amplified, right? Like, it's not just I have to worry about me, but if I don't check this one box, it's going to impact all of these other people who need that thing, right? So I think that those were some of the things, be it workplace norms, societal norms, that add to the pressure that make it harder to slow down or even ask for support, especially when you're in those fields. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me and what it's looked like for me and my experience. Like, those are some things that I could say definitely shape how I respond to stress. Yeah, in this thing called life.
Oh my gosh, life be lifing sometimes.
All the time. Life is life all the time.
I did send that to an intern verbatim yesterday.
I mean, hey, we love to see it, because at the end of the day, we all know what that means.
Yeah, I was like, don't apologize. Life is life sometimes.
It doesn't stop again.
But you brought up two very interesting points. And the first one, that competitiveness that comes with chronic stress.
Right.
Especially in high-achieving environments like graduate school, health professions, just life as it is right now.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of our students, it's almost a badge of honor.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things, and I'm not saying, our students go out and try to get more stress.
Right.
But there's that kind of automatic response to somebody saying, ugh, I studied for 12 hours yesterday and got 5 hours of sleep. Yeah. And for somebody to be like, oh, you think that's bad? Right. This is what happened to me. Like, my car exploded. Right. And I don't even think, and they're not doing it out of maliciousness. Yeah. Or anything like it's a bonding opportunity. Right. And so,
because we're bonding on a shared experience that may also be a little traumatic, but it's also relatable.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's relatable. Yeah.
Yeah. It's something that they can all understand. And I think as we start to navigate kind of this, I hate to use it, but the loneliness epidemic of the world right now. And, our students are in this is trauma. Like, going through these programs, it is trauma on your body and on your mind.
Absolutely.
And so this is a bonding experience. Yeah. And we love that. Yeah. But I think at the same time, rather than, what would happen if our students, rather than responding with, oh yeah, like, you got this much sleep, I got this much of sleep. If they said, we're both kind of struggling right now. What can we do? Right. Like, if they responded with curiosity for, how do we not feel this pain? Yeah. And so that's, a big cultural conversation that I'm really like just kind of navigating, trying to do.
Yeah.
And so if you see QB, that's what QB is.
Hey, QB. QB and the Welbies.
QB and the Welbies. That's kind of what they are, is it's that shift in that cultural, norm on campus and really around the country of how do we perceive stress as a badge of honor.
Right, right. And I think you bring up a really important point, too, of not just leaning into shared experiences, but again, reframing those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Because something that I don't want to take away from people is that, like, they're actually having conversations about it, right? Like, they're sharing, oh, well, this is what I'm going through, and not necessarily stuffing it, right? And being like, no, everything's perfect. It's like, I love the fact that you're willing to share. Not only is it not perfect, but let me one-up you with this, right? But at the same time, it's where that reframe comes in, right? It's I want you to share your experience, but I also then want you to be able to lean into, but how can I make this better? Maybe you can share something that you do and I learn from it, right? Because we can all learn from shared experiences. But at the same time, it's creating spaces and really cultivating maybe even experiences where people can learn how to have those conversations, which is something I think Be Well is really good at doing. Shout out to you guys and all of the programming that you do around that, both, inside and outside of the classroom, because sometimes it's hard to have those conversations when you don't have the language. And I think Be Well is really good about helping you with getting the language so that when those conversations do come up with your peers and you're like, yeah, I didn't get any sleep. But you know what? I'm going to do better by doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's leading into the conversations that people are naturally having now, but then also making sure that there is a reframe that has a positive outcome, even if it's an uncomfortable outcome.
Yeah. And that's like, I think a lot of us are very scared of feeling uncomfortable.
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Like it sucks.
Not
you
a
want me
good
to do
feeling.
something that doesn't feel good, that feels like completely opposite of what my body. Think about it. Our bodies are constantly in fight or flight, right?
Yeah.
And how we operate and how we process information responds to that fight or flight. And now you're telling me you want me to lean into it?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Growth. It's a growth opportunity, growth mentality.
Yes.
I always tell our students, they spend so much time here. They spend so much money getting these degrees and getting this wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
And I want them to use it.
Yeah.
I don't want them to, like you said, like they go into these professional environments where there's another culture of kind of just suffering through the stress and not talking about it.
Yeah.
And if you ever have a conversation with me, everybody in Student Affairs knows, like I will sit there and I'll be like, no, we're talking about
like we're going to unpack all of this right now. It's like, but right now?
Like we're talking, you're going through a hard time. Okay, what are you doing for you? How are we supporting ourselves right now? What do you need?
Yes.
And people make fun of me for like my walking pad and like getting my steps in.
I love that you have the walking pad. I need one.
Guys, I'm averaging like 13,000 steps right now a day.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm good at this. Yes. I'm good at walking. But it's something that, so small, but it alleviates a lot of pressure off of me. And, it's one of those things that when you walk, like your brain functions a little bit better, your creative juices start flowing. Yeah. And so it's finding these opportunities of, just looking inward, self-reflecting, saying, what do I need right now? Yeah. What is a good solution? You can't stop being a student.
No, because that adds more stress.
Yeah. But what can you do so that you're not having to take a sabbatical because your body shuts down?
Yeah.
What do you do? Because your body will
absolutely
shut down.
It will. I've had that happen.
Yeah,
it will.
Your body will force you to take a break whether you like it or not. So you might as well lean into the preventative route.
Yes.
Rather than simply the recovery route, which is not so simple.
At
all. And so you brought up another great point with, professionalism in those environments of how do you tie value back to what you're doing? Because that's a huge component of burnout is that, lack of self-efficacy, that depersonalization, that disconnect from the value of the work. And I think so many of our students are, they're very vulnerable to becoming jaded in the work before they even get the opportunity
to do
the work.
Yeah.
And it's just sad to see because, I sit there and I'm like, I just want to fix it.
Yeah.
And I can't.
Yeah, no. I actually had a conversation with someone about this earlier when it comes to like being the helper and being the fixer.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be very careful with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard. But something that you have to think about is by constantly fixing things for other people, are you keeping them from learning the lessons that they need to learn to become the best versions of themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trial and error is truly how we learn some things. And some of us sometimes need that lesson of like, no, I said I was going to do it my way, even though people were telling me not to because X, Y, and Z. And then you do it and you're like, never again. Right. Or maybe I should have leaned into what someone was saying. Or you don't have to learn the hard way, but you still have to have an experience.
Mm-hmm.
And from that experience, you're like, this is what I'm taking from it. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of the points that you brought up are like really important, especially when you think about the students that we work with, but also the faculty and staff that we work with. Because I think no matter what, you are constantly modeling behavior regardless of your role here, right? Like I think that's one of the beautiful things about working on a campus and being at a campus. Students learn from each other, but students learn from faculty and they learn from staff. And which way you want to create that little pathway, you can, because people are constantly learning from each other. But then I think you also have to remind yourself that you can't continue to give what you're not pouring into yourself, right? And so being in a helping profession, I think something that's really important for people to remind themselves of, and it may even be a meter check for some people, is how frequently are you telling somebody else to do something you need to be telling yourself to do?
All the time.
And how often are you listening to yourself to do said things?
Never.
But it's a meter check. I remember, I do it now, but I remember especially when I was a learning specialist, I would be having conversations with people and I would say, I am saying this to you, but I am also preaching to the choir because I did not do this. And I'm going to be honest and transparent with you. So during our next appointment, let's, check in with each other. Let's hold each other accountable, right? But I do think that that's something that we have to be mindful of because we are constantly giving other people advice, right?
Yeah.
But how frequently are we taking said advice?
Yeah.
Because we know the thing.
Oh, yeah.
But are we doing the thing?
Yeah. That was something last fall that I really sat with I was, telling students, like, don't doom scroll. That's not a hobby. And then
you go check your phone.
Yeah.
Data log.
Yeah. Every, Sunday when it sends you, this is how much time you spent on your phone. I'm like, why are we shaming me?
Right.
Apple.
Also, I have questions because are you monitoring like what's active in the background or what I'm actively scrolling through? Because those are different things.
It's like you're 6 hours on TikTok daily. And I'm like, oh, I hear you.
I should pull it back.
And I'm like, I respect your concern for me. And, and it wasn't where I was like, I hate being a hypocrite. And so telling our students, hey, like, when you feel stressed out, when you feel frustrated, rather than, one, you need to acknowledge that within yourself. That's the easiest part right there. Yeah. And then 2, you need to find something to either alleviate it or release it. Yeah. Yeah. And yesterday I woke up in the worst mood, and I knew I woke up in the worst mood. Like I was just sitting there, like every interaction I had with people, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm just really just not happy today.
Like I'm not my best self right now. And I know.
Yeah. And I got 2 hours into my workday, and I was like, you know what? I said, you gotta calm down. Yeah. And get over it. So I put on a headspace meditation. Yes. And I was like, just do 4 minutes and just calm down by yourself.
Decompress.
Yeah. And I was like, and if you're still kind of frustrated at the world, get a snack. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. Go for a walk.
Yeah. I was like, maybe do something productive. Step away from your workstation.
Yeah. I love that you have a toolkit.
Yeah.
I love that you have to. Yeah, you do.
Yeah. I kind of have to. I don't want to see, like you said, your 13-year-old self. I'm like, oh gosh, she's still in there.
Oh, she is. She comes out frequently, and sometimes I'm like, oh, cool, because we got responsibilities and bills.
You have to hug her a little bit and just go, it's okay. I hear you. I feel you. You're validated. we can't react like that.
We can't do this.
We can't. That hurts people's feelings when you speak like that.
And in retrospect, it also hurts you because we like nice things.
Yes.
And in order to keep nice things, we got to be mindful of how we show up in the world.
Yes. And so I think a lot of our students, and that's a component of Be Well is that emotional intelligence.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is something that I strive to tell our students, because a lot of our students, they'll sit there and they'll be like, I already know this about myself. And I'm like, yeah, but like,
what are you doing with that
yeah,
information?
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, not to sound whiny, but I'm like, what are you?
But that's so real, because essentially what it comes down to is, especially when you get into all things tied to emotional intelligence, I'm not asking you, do you solely know this? I'm asking you, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
How do you actively engage with this information and knowledge, and how is it showing up in your day-to-day life, right?
Yeah.
Not just oh, you know this about yourself, cool. How does it show up in this space then when you're upset? Do you default to avoidance and masking? Or do you lean into it and you're like, actually, I'm having a crappy day. I'm going to go tap into some headspace. That's not working. I'm going to get my favorite snack and soothe myself. And then we're going to give it our best. Like I'm slowly trying.
Yeah.
Those are different things. Those are different, I guess I should say, those are different responses to being aware of a emotional response.
Yeah.
And that's so important, especially again when you do the type of work that not only that we do, but that our students are training to do. Yeah.
Well, and it's such an important component, I don't think they realize, of burnout is you have these skills, you have these strengths within your emotional intelligence. How are you leveraging those strengths during high stress times?
Yeah.
And then at the same time, how are those, weaker or less utilized skills? Yeah. How are those kind of combating it?
Absolutely.
And so it's very self-reflective. Not many people like to be self-reflective.
No.
That's the last thing I want to do when I get home is sit there and be like, okay, how could I have done better today?
Yeah. No. Let me analyze myself. It's easier to do it for other people.
Yeah.
Right? But when you're like, okay, let me walk through all the things that I did today, it's not always fun.
No, it isn't. But it does make it easier to tolerate stress.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And to tolerate other people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you at least have an understanding of what's happening. Now, what's really important is don't lean into that understanding so much to where now it becomes a level of, I'm going to let you disrespect me and you because I understand why you feel the way that you do. Separate conversation for another day. But you do at least have an understanding of okay, I see how we got here and I see why you're upset.
Yeah.
I also want you, though, to go figure that out.
Yeah.
And if there's something I can do to support you in that, great. Willing to do that. But if not, I at least want you to have the tools that you need to do it for yourself. And that's important. That's important work.
Yeah. And it makes the work easier when you go into whatever profession that you are training to be in. And it's, when you do come up against a supervisor. Yeah. Do you just I've had it where my supervisor and I, our strengths are opposite. Yeah. Yeah. And I sit there and I know we're both kind of triggering the other person's
It's there's friction.
Yeah.
There's
but
friction.
Both of us are sitting there recognizing it and being like, okay, dude.
I'm trying to lean into this from a healthy place, but also I'm I'm struggling.
And it does make it easier, and it makes you more. At least for me, it made me respect the workplace more. It made me respect my coworkers, my collaborators more. Yeah. Because I was like, well, you know what? I'm really bad in that area, but they're really good. Yeah. How can I model what they're doing? Yeah. And kind of strengthen it. And in turn, that reduces a lot of the stress you feel. Yeah. Because, if you end up not being able to do that component yourself, somebody who can, and if there's trust there, of course, you can kind of rely on them. And so, going back to you, Dr. Carter,
yes.
When you look back at, your time when you're getting your master's and you're navigating all of these different layers, what did it look like from other people to support you? Whether that was while you were getting to the point of burnout or post burnout.
I had different support systems, right? So I had the support system of people who were also going on the journey with me. And we were like, what is this? Also, we opted into this. Because, again, that's something that a lot of people sometimes don't talk about, or they talk about it in a different way. But it's when you are working on a degree and you are choosing to, say, like, do a GA position in housing, you opted into that, right? And yes, you opted into it because it is a step in achieving a goal and to, achieve the things that you want to achieve. But you still got to admit that you opted into it during those stressful times. And so being able to lean on my support system that was also navigating that and was going through some of the hard stuff, right? Because, I mean, that particular position, we actually lost a colleague. And so we are trying to support students and honor, their memory while also grieving ourselves, right? And not a lot of people are going to understand all parts of that unless you're going through it. So I definitely leaned into that and had that amazing group. But then I also had some of our friends who we took completely different journeys in life, but still supported each other, right? And so they were able to remind me of, the why behind it, but also be that space where it was like, I can take that hat off that I have when I am the residence coordinator, a residence director, and the student, and just be this different version of me with them. And then I think there were also people who called me out on stuff where it was like, hey, I know you're upset, but I think how you're like channeling this isn't the healthiest. And so I think having different types of support systems is really important because they help all the intersecting parts of your identity have a safe space, right? And so those were kind of like the different ways that it showed up for me because I needed that. I needed that. And I also needed it from the outside looking in. Because, listen, I'll have a conversation with myself all day. I am an internal processor through and through.
Yes.
But, sometimes you need to say the thing out loud. Or you need to have it said to you. Because it'll hit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've offered just so many different great lenses around burnout and, like, how, everything kind of plays a role in not only contributing to the feelings of burnout, but also contributing to the support around getting out of it. And so when you think about our students and what their journeys are, what is just like the biggest piece of advice that you can provide for them?
I would say we kind of touched on it earlier, but I definitely think it's something I want to lean into, and that is something I don't think we talk about enough is burnout doesn't look one way. It doesn't. It exists on a spectrum. I know you and I have had that conversation. But the feelings that come with burnout are information and not something to be afraid of. I think the onset of burnout can actually be an opportunity for you to check in with yourself and get honest about what you need. It's not a personal failure, but a signal. It's a couple of things, right? So it's not a personal failure, but it is a signal. And what I mean by that is earlier you were talking about how if you don't acknowledge it and work through it, it will sit you down. And again, not something to be afraid of, but it is information. So it's okay. I'm getting subtle hints from my mind and my body and maybe even my spirit that I need to check in and tweak some things. Am I going to listen in that moment, or is the next nudge going to have to be louder and harder? And it's something that when you look at it as information, it provides you truly an opportunity to say, okay, let me be proactive instead of reactive. Let me tap into some of the resources that people have shared with me. Let me see if I can name what's going on, because I'm getting subtle signs, but I'm not necessarily sure what that next step is. But I will say at least the first step is acknowledging it as information. And then from there, exploring what that bounce back can look like. I'm a really big person. I know we just talked about like not really wanting to sit down every day and wanting to be like, okay, what did I do today? I'm really big on seasonal audits though. I'm really big on each quarter.
Yeah.
Each semester, depending upon like the season that I'm in life, looking and seeing what do I need in this season to, no pun intended, be well and plan accordingly, right? Like one of the ways that I can be proactive is pulling out my toolkit and saying, this season, I need people to have less access to me.
Yeah.
I need to be really clear on what my yeses are, but also what my nos are. I need to know realistically what my schedule looks like from a bird's eye point of view, but then also week by week so that I can identify those small pockets of time where they're truly mine. I need a self-care list, or I know now there some people are calling them dopamine menus, right? Where if I only have 5 minutes in a day, this is what I can do for me.
Yeah.
But if I have an entire weekend, this is what I can do for me. And each season, checking in. So I would say, just to kind of recapture all of that, because I know that was like, you know, a lot of words, is remembering that burnout is information. It is not a personal failure. It's a signal. And use that as an opportunity to check in with yourself that season to see what it is that you need to be successful, and go from there. Yeah.
I love it. That's a perfect place to end. Everybody at home say thank you, Dr. Carter. But I so appreciate your time. I appreciate you letting me pick your brain.
Absolutely.
It can be a very intimate conversation.
It can. There's a lot happening up there. I got 50 tabs open at once, all the time.
But I do so appreciate your time. I hope everybody, you know, who comes across this gets something from it, gets some kind of action step or self-reflective, anything from it. Like I said at the beginning, we'll have some resources down below. We'll have Dr. Carter's office listed down. They have great time management tools. They have something that a lot of people don't know is they can help you kind of navigate test anxiety and imposter syndrome. They're fantastic at that. And I'll leave some of those other resources like Timely Care and Care Team down below. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a joy when we get to, you know, have these conversations together and share it out with the world now.
Yeah. Well, we will let you guys do whatever you need to do.
Yeah. Enjoy your day.
Yeah.
And make sure you're doing something for you.
Yeah.